Roll up a
Oh, no
newspaper
doubt
just
about
like
it.
with you.
No, sir. No, sir. But yeah, I can't wait to hear what it's like for him to be a dad on that side of it. Like the smile that he had with his kid on, I was just like, that says a lot.
Take two, Marshman Real Estate Hotline. Hoppy on the line. Brad, what's going on this morning?
Oh, I apologize, fellas. I had the phone on mute. You guys couldn't hear me.
No.
Anyway, good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, man, you're a radio vet, Brad. Like, you realize you actually have to have a microphone in front of you for people to be able to hear you.
Exactly. Well, it's in front of me. I just need to turn it on.
So, how are things going? It feels like the last few days have been all right for you and the family.
Yeah, there's still a few things going on here and there. We're doing some traveling, just enjoying the sights. No, I'm just kidding. So, I mean, what an experience for my family, right? We got a chance to host a Super Bowl in the host city, back-to-back years. That's probably never been done. Probably never will be done again. But either way, Brycen was able to be a part of it, and we're just soaking it in right now, fellas.
Yeah, I was listening to you on Sirius over the weekend, and I heard them ask you a question as to whether or not you were more nervous or more hyped, I believe it was, about playing in the Super Bowl or what your son was about to experience. And I'm pretty sure you said it was Brycen's experience that had you more kind of stressed out, ready, all that kind of stuff. Is that right?
Absolutely. I mean, for those participating in the game, you try and compartmentalize the situation and not make it bigger than it is. Of course, we understand that it's the Super Bowl. But when you're watching someone that you love do it, I mean, your well wishes are that they're in the right place at the right time, doing the right things and making big plays and contributing. And fortunately for us, Brycen was able to be on the plus side of that.
Right. What's from his perspective, have you talked to him about your experience to his and, I guess the appreciation of, actually winning the game? We've both played in Brad, and both of us have lost them. So to see your kid on the other side what has he actually said to you about that moment?
I don't really think it's soaked in yet, Ramon. I really don't. Playing in the game is one thing. You can only do what you can do. That's the great thing about football. Football is such a team sport that it takes so many parts to make it successful that, you just got to do what you can do. You can't control the outcome. You can only control what you do. Mm-hmm. And then when you're watching Brycen just sit there and win a Super Bowl, like he won the thing. He's going to come home back to Nashville with a ring on his finger, which, is amazing. So I don't think I had much of an appreciation for it while I was playing because, we just do what we do, right, Ramon? We just go out there and play football and hope that the chips fall where you want them to fall. But that's not up to us. But for this situation with Brycen, I mean, man, it especially for the year that he had, guys, right? I mean, he really wasn't on the field a whole bunch. Filled in sparingly, was really working hard during practice, but just didn't seem to have that opportunity to knock on his door until the grandest stage of them all. So he stepped up, showed up, and did exactly what he was supposed to do.
You prouder of the receptions or the block that he made?
Oh, the block, bro.
Yeah.
Get the catches. I mean, when you can be physical like that, and you're a football person, Jason. You get that. You understand exactly how important that block was because Cooper Kupp doesn't get the first down if Brycen doesn't make that play. But to make the adjustment, to stay with your man, to get underneath his pads. And Sam Hubbard's no slouch. The dude's got almost 8 sacks on the year. You know what I'm saying? So he put hands on a dude that can play, and he made a play.
Yeah, and about that, to hear Chris Collinsworth, and I think Al Michaels call the play, call the game, and they actually bring up everything. It's Brycen is only one catch the entire season, and here he is moving the chains. To hear that as a dad, and for him, like you said, it ain't registered to him because he's so freaking young, but to only have one reception during the season and to have four for really good yards in a tight end for a tight end in that game, when you're on the team that's got a Pro Bowl tight end, you're making these plays like that's some cool friggin' end of the year stuff, Hop.
Think about it, Ramon. He had to step up in a position of trust because you're right. Tyler Higbee has been a dude other than Cooper Kupp and maybe Van Jefferson every now and then. Of course, we know OBJ came in late, but he's been a dude that they've used in that system. And for Brycen to kind of pick up where TJ and even where Kendall Blanton has had some success, later this year. They used the tight end in those positions. So I think the fact that he was able to, hold on to the ball, not have any drops, that's important, right? Get yards,
right.
Complete drives, that kind of thing. That's important, and especially in a position like you just said that already has some star-studded capabilities.
What did you say to him? What did he say to you when you first got to, embrace him there on the field and be there with your son?
Okay. So the second picture that I posted, where I'm just staring at him, I did a loop. You know, he was standing there talking to his mom, and I just kind of walked around him like, I can't even believe this dude's standing right here, just played in the Super Bowl and won the dang thing. So I was just taking it in from a surreal moment before I actually ran in there and just grabbed his neck. You know what I'm saying? So there really wasn't much to say. I just had to look him in the face and say, "You did it.
Yeah.
You did it." And I think his look back at me was the acknowledgement that yes, I did.
You know, what kind of team was that for him? I know he's a young guy on the team, but one of the things I keep going back to is hearing Von Miller say, like, this was a Pro Bowl team every day at practice, you know, and to be a part of that journey and around those guys. Heck, he's got friggin' 3 Hall of Famers. He's got 2 gold jackets walking around him every single day for sure, as far as Von Miller and Aaron Donald. Just what was that team like with you being around them?
Very professional. You know, I mean, obviously they had a goal in mind. They pushed those chips in the middle of the table. The pressure was on them for all of the circumstances surrounding this unit, where the playoffs and Super Bowl were going to be. SoFi, the brand new stadium, you know, a couple years old, $5 billion investment. You know, there was a lot riding on this. So they put together a roster, Ramon, that really made sense for them to make this happen. And they did. But you got to have, you know, the effort from both sides of the football. If you think about it, iron sharpens iron.
Mm-hmm.
So that unit that kept staff pretty much, you know, clean for the most part of the year, except for a few times when San Francisco got after him. They were able to get the ball out of his hands and into the hands of the Triple Crown winner. And the trenches is where it started. Think about that. You know, Ramon, when you're working against some dudes like Leonard, Miller, Donald, Gaines, these cats make you better during practice. So it probably was kind of like almost like a playoff type environment where these guys are trying to prepare each other, you know?
Yeah, I actually heard a couple of the Rams players say, imagine playing against this defense in practice all week.
Right.
You're not going to help but get better. Let me ask you this about Aaron Donald specifically. Maybe you take Lawrence Taylor out of the equation, but I've seen 7 Pro Bowls, 7 first-team All-Pros in 9 seasons. Obviously, you could have easily made him the MVP Sunday night if you would like to. If you want to eliminate LT, you can. Outside of that, is it possible he's the greatest defensive player that's ever played in this league?
I had a dear friend of our offensive line when I played asked me a question. He said, "Do you think Bruce Matthews could have blocked Aaron Donald?" And of course, I said, "Shoot, yeah, he could."
Yeah.
I don't know. I had to think about it for a second. I was actually on the bus going over to the player celebration after the game, and I was talking to the offensive line coach, Wes, and he said blocking Aaron Donald, and you'll appreciate this, Ramon. He said blocking Aaron Donald is like walking the blocking sled and you miss.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
That thing ain't going anywhere. You know what I mean? It's metal, and it pushes back. So this is a human blocking sled. If you don't hit it just right, it's going to be curtains for you. And that's the way it is. Aaron's one of those dudes who has tremendous strength. He has an unbelievable motor, but his physical stature gives him the advantage because he's a little shorter than most defensive linemen. So you got this quick, strong, fire hydrant-looking dude that is almost unblockable. And now that you got 2 edge rushers that don't allow you to slide either way, I mean, that's the formula for disaster for offensive lines. You know how that goes.
It really is. I remember playing them early on in my career, and the one thing I tried to do, and Hop, you know when I say this, I tried to trap him. But to your point, he's short, and I say, you hate to say short, but I pull him, try to get him to the ground, and he just, came up under your pass a little bit. Geno Atkins has a little bit of that too. So to say, like, how do you block him? And the play against Quentin Spain when you knew he had to make it. The thing is, you can size Aaron Donald, but your feet and your angles better be good enough to cover him up, because once he got that edge on friggin' Quentin Spain, his speed and natural ability could do nothing for him at that point.
Absolutely. I mean, obviously great defensive linemen play with leverage, and he plays with tremendous leverage. But it's not only that. It's like you just said, his motor. This dude doesn't slow down for anything. And I doubt that he ever really takes a play off. So his conditioning, his strength, and he's not a small dude, even though we're talking about him being short.
Height,
he's not small, right.
Yeah.
So that poses a problem for big, tall dudes like you. I can imagine you trying to get down that low and get underneath that dude. That don't work.
Gotta size him, and that's all you can do, man. Like, it's one of the times being big really benefits you, man.
Right.
But with that being said, though, too, Hoppy, as far as him, there's the conversation around will he retire? From your perspective, and we had that conversation too, and it started to leak out. I was like, man, he probably takes a beating. Every play is 2-3 people on him every single play. Yeah, he picks his poison on where he's going to go to get sacks and stuff, but it wouldn't be a bad thought to say he could hang it up at this point too, if necessary, unless it's just a money grab too.
What does he have to prove?
Yeah.
He's an elite player. He's got tons of money. His name has cachet to it. I don't really see him being some sort of media person. But this is a different game we're talking about, fellas. We're talking about businessmen. Let's just say that you were a garbage man for many, many, many years. You did it so long, you did it so well that you were able to buy your own truck. Maybe you were able to buy 5 or 10 trucks. How long would you stand out there scooping trash? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's just a situation nowadays where we've made enough money, athletes have, to then start looking at our other options. You know what I'm saying? Because there's longevity when you're talking about being successful. It's not on the football field because Father Time is undefeated. We know how that goes. You know, so I think that he's smart in thinking about what he can do. He's got options. He's got leverage. And there really isn't anything else that he can prove in this game. Now he's got a ring on his finger, right?
Right.
Yeah. So Aaron Donald, DeForest Buckner, and Cam Hayward all raved about Jeff Simmons over the last couple of weeks.
God.
Is he the closest thing potentially that we're seeing? He's certainly elite. We know that. But what do you think the actual ceiling is right now for Jeff Simmons? Because I'm not sure I can see it yet.
There isn't one. We have one, fellas. We just clap right now.
Yeah.
We have a ringer on defense. I mean, up front. Don't get me wrong. Kevin Byard, I'm a huge fan of that dude. I mean, make him president. You know, but the way that he plays the game ties in everybody else. You know, can take advantage of what Jeffrey Simmons is able to do up front, being disruptive. You know, that's the kind of formula that wins championships. That's the kind of formula that gives you the caliber defense that it takes to get off the field, put the ball back in the hands of the king, and let him run this thing down into the ground. So, you know, Jeffrey Simmons, in my opinion, okay, so I had a Hall of Fame. I had an All-Pro voter ask me what I thought about Jeffrey Simmons. I just looked at him and shook my head, bro. What do you want me to say? the reason why you're asking me the question is because you already know he's well deserved of that ballot, and unfortunately he didn't get it. What was he, second team All-Pro or Pro Bowl or something like that? I mean, we see this thing might be a little affected, but either way, he is one of the guys that you're going to be talking about often in the future here.
B-Hop, you've done something, man, and I don't know if you realize what you've done, but when I get to it, you're going to understand. For you, having a kid that you've seen grow up and get to this point, the amount of sports dads and moms that are going to look to you and be like, what was your recipe? How did you get your kid Brycen to this point? He not only made it to the NFL, but he won a Super Bowl. And I know a lot of that work went to him, man, but the sacrificing of you to him and the love and just what was your journey with him to get to this point? I'm sure it's ups and downs and all of those things, but there's baseball dad, football dads, all those types of things. What was your journey like with him since this is the highest moment for, you know, a young guy in his career?
Support. Brycen didn't have to pick football. I support my son in whatever his dreams, his aspirations, his goals are. If he'd want to be a painter, then I would have been back there just with a smock and asking him to do everything he could do to be the best he could be. The point is, I didn't push Brycen either way. I didn't push Brycen and tell him he needed to be a football player or a basketball player or anything. We wanted him to follow his heart's passions because you know how that old formula works. If you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. And that's what we wanted to find him in that situation. It just happened to be he liked making plays with a football in his hand. He started late in his football career, just like I did. We thought that basketball might be more of our future, but it wasn't. And he's able to make do with what God has put in front of him, an opportunity. So I didn't really have to say much other than just being the dad that supports his son, supports his kids, his family, and doing all that they can do to be the best that they can be.
So you just saw a Super Bowl win, and you saw Matthew Stafford, you know, kind of take the Rams in a place that they had not been with Jared Goff. So that was the love fest for Ramon. I'll throw the punch then.
Here we go.
Can the Titans win the Super Bowl in your estimation with the current quarterback?
Yes. Get off of Ryan Tannehill, y'all. He's not the reason why this team wins or loses. He's the facilitator, okay? He's the accoutrements of the meal. You know what I'm saying? He is not the person that wins or loses games for this offense. It goes through an established ground attack, through an offensive line that can be consistent and allowing Derrick Henry to take advantage of the creases that you know eventually are going to come. Then Ryan Tannehill can keep a defense honest by throwing the ball wherever he needs to when necessary. But I understand the pressure was put on him to be a playmaker. Yeah. He's not going to be the guy to take over an offense and make it about him. He's never been that way. We've seen it on his own accord how that happens. It doesn't. But when you're coupled with a dude like Derrick, like a system that commits to running the football, he can get his shots here and there that make defenses say, hey, you know what? We can't just stack 8, 9 dudes in the box because Ryan can beat you. And that's the truth. So I'd say he's getting, like most quarterbacks, a little more scrutiny than, maybe deserved, a little more praise than deserved. But that's always the way football goes. I just don't think that he's, we need to start rinsing them out with the bathwater. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Well, there it is.
There it is. I like that. He's a lobster mac and cheese, basically.
There it is. He's not the steak, right? He's not the the main meal. Give Derek the T-bone. He needs the protein.
You feel me? Yeah, that dry aged steak, man. We know who that is.
Well, plenty of smiles, I'm sure, for the family, Hoppy.
Yeah, man.
We were thrilled. We all kind of said that Sunday. It was just like, first off, when we saw Brycen making plays, that's awesome. Yeah, he's on the roster. He's going to get a ring, but he was a part of that. Like anybody didn't know his name. I think more people certainly know his name today than have ever known it before, and that's got to be special for your family.
The thing is, guys, Brycen's accomplishment is incredible. And, Ramon, you and I, not that you don't, Jason, understand exactly what that means, but the well wishes.
Right.
People that have reached out to this family to say, you guys deserved it, you worked hard, we appreciate your effort, all of those things. That is the most touching aspect of it. You're going to win games, you're going to lose games. You can't ever really control it like we talked about earlier. But you can control how people think about you.
Right.
You can control how, the perception of you is. And when this moment happens and there's so many well-wishers, it says that you're doing more right things than wrong,
Yeah. Well, it's well said. Congrats to the family, Hoppy. We appreciate you, brother. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys. You guys have a great day.
You too.
That's Brad Hopkins. That's awesome.
That's so cool.